We are live here with Tyrone Pearsall, musician and educator extraordinaire. We're so excited and grateful to have you on. Thank you for
Hey,
that.
hey. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Joining
ma'am.
us tonight. So let's hop straight into this interview, shall we?
All right, let's do it.
All right. So, what drew you to music and music education?
All right. Well, first of all, I know I said let's hop into it. I'm not thinking. First of all, I do want to take this opportunity just to address everything that's going on in the world,
Sure.
and just let everybody know that the people who are out there in the streets during the protests and in the middle of these riots, keep doing what you got to do to have justice served for the people that need justice to be served. Um, I just want to put that out there.
Sure.
At this point, I feel like any platform that should always be mentioned because of everything that's going on. And we are people of color, and not to get too political because it's not just about color.
Right.
It's about the police brutality, but definitely want to speak on it. People out there, we see you, we hear you,
Yeah.
get up. All
Yeah.
right, so on to the first question.
Sure. Music and music education. What drew you to it?
Music, well, music was it's weird, believe it
Okay.
or not. This is why I got into music, and I'll speak on the education piece after.
Sure.
I got into music because as a kid I got punished a lot.
Okay.
So it was no TV, it was no games. All I had in my room was a radio.
Okay.
And so I would listen to the radio all day
Hmm.
and have every song memorized.
Hmm.
And then whenever me and my mom would go somewhere, I'd be singing and rapping the songs, and she's like, "Oh, you can rap those lyrics, but you can't do your schoolwork like that." And I'm like, I mean, I hear it all day. So like that's kind of what really got me hooked onto the music part.
Yeah.
Um, and as time went on, I just felt like I had just a natural like gift to
Hmm.
kind of explain music to people. And so my latter years in high school, that's kind of what I did, and I
Okay.
I definitely liked it. So once I got to college, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I would go into the teaching profession. I honestly didn't even know if I would go into the music profession. But I did, and so I took that gift of just being able to break stuff down because music can be so technical.
Yeah.
And so having the ability to break stuff down and then re-explain it, to people so that they understand. I mean, that's literally all teachers do. And so I was like, well, hey, maybe that's my natural calling. And so I decided to go with it, chose to go ahead and get my degree in music education. Got my bachelor's, then went back for a master's in education, got my master's. That was great.
Hmm.
Not sure about a doctoral degree, but I mean, can never say never,
No.
but we'll see what happens.
Yes. Hey, we are looking forward to the moment so we can celebrate with you.
Okay.
All right. So, what motivates you every day when you're in the classroom?
Motivation, 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 man. Sometimes you got to motivate yourself when you're dealing with other people's children,
Yes.
because as we know, kids are not always the most friendly. They're not always the most friendly, but honestly, it is the students that motivate me moving forward because you're in a classroom with kids who really don't know much, but
Hmm.
sometimes they show that desire to want to know.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't show any desires, like I don't want to be here, but then as time goes on you see that desire flip and turn
Yes.
on. So often that kind of becomes the motivation
Hmm.
because you saw kids who didn't want to do it. Now all of a sudden they're intrigued and they're asking
Yes.
questions, and you see them grow and you see them start to learn. Now they're starting to play more. Now they're starting to create their own.
Yes.
So once you see that, it's definitely a motivating factor. And I'll be honest, when I first started, because I've actually only been teaching for I'm about to end my second year.
Okay.
So my first year,
Yes.
it was hard to see anything because I was just starting.
Hmm.
But here it is almost 2 years later, and it's like I've seen the changes in students that I've worked with. I've
Right.
seen the growth, and so it definitely makes you just want to go forward.
Yeah.
Um, and just having good coworkers as well who can kind of just help you out and just give you
Mhm.
certain little nuances here that you can use in the classroom. And
Yeah.
I try to motivate myself, and then I have friends who are self motivated. I mean, not self motivated, but friends who motivate me as
Yeah.
well. It's just like, hey, I could never do what you're doing. You
Right.
know, I, especially with the whole pandemic and everything,
Yeah.
people say all the time, you know, shout out to the teachers.
Yeah.
Y'all are great. It's like these are your kids, and all of a sudden you just realizing, give me one second, you just realizing um how bad they might be, or just from working with them and stuff. But no, I mean it's all good because just like most of the things we choose, I mean it's something I chose to do. It's the profession I chose, and I mean I
Right.
love it.
Amen. All right. And so, what advice do you have to give to future educators who want to be involved in music education?
Research, research, research. I'm gonna keep saying research, and I say that because one, what research why you want to do it, and sometimes that research is just self-reflecting.
Hmm.
Research where you want to do it,
Hmm.
and is it the best place for you. um Research the different types of education or music things that you can do,
Yeah.
because if I'm being honest, I didn't know everything when I first started, and I didn't realize there was so many other musical routes that I could go.
Hmm.
And I will say that's okay, because the route that I went, I can actually go down any avenue
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
So, but what else? Yeah, just research, research, research. That's what it's all about. And then just really studying your craft.
Yeah.
If it's something that you really want to do, it's like you got to understand. It's like you got to put your time into it,
Yeah. And
and that's
so,
just what it is.
I totally agree. Research is incredibly important. And as an African American male teacher, do you feel like you're held to a higher standard of accountability? And how important do you think it is to have teachers of color in the classroom?
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely held to a higher standard. That's not even a question. I'm held to a higher standard just for being black, but then being a male,
Yeah.
but then I'm gonna add this in here because sometimes I often get judged because of the way I look.
Right.
I'm held to a higher standard because it's like, oh, he has long dreads.
Mm.
Um, it's can't really see my body, but I'm somewhat of a brawly dude. But and it's just like, oh my goodness, he's so big. Oh, he's a thug, he's a gangster. And it's
Mm.
just like, nah, I'm none of those things. I'm just a teacher.
Right.
It's no reason to be scared, but I'm definitely held to a higher standard.
Mm.
And that's okay, because being held to the higher standard, I already hold myself to a high standard.
Yeah.
So as long as I keep my standards above everybody else's, then I don't have anything to worry about, because I can't fail, because I'm not going to allow myself to fail.
Right.
What was the second part of the question?
And so the second part of the question is, how important do you think it is to have teachers of color in the classroom?
Oh, I mean, that's definitely important as well, especially when you're dealing with other students that are the same color as you.
Yeah.
I think that's very prominent, because it gives them, one, someone to look up to say, oh, although I may be in a bad position, I don't always have to be in a bad position. It allows the students to be able to relate a little bit more,
Mm.
because sometimes it's kind of hard to relate to other races that
Yeah.
are not like you. And I think
Mhm.
for students, that's very important, because it ties into how they learn,
Mhm.
the effort they put into learning,
Mhm.
and how they just go about their day to day business. So I think it's very important.
And so, how have you grown thinking about these things from year one teaching to now coming to the end of your second year?
I think I've become a lot more open as far
Hmm.
as my growth. Uh, I thought I knew I thought I knew enough in college or based off the college experience from what I
Mhm.
learned, but it's like college definitely gives you the foundation, but once you really get out there, it was I had to learn a lot from colleagues. I would definitely say that,
Mm.
which I don't think is a problem because some of my colleagues are definitely seasoned vets in the classroom, and
Mhm.
I use the people around me to help me grow and help me
Mhm.
better, so um, that maybe one day another young teacher, come look up to me and ask me for ideas or how to handle other situations and circumstances.
Awesome. And so, to a fun question, what are some misconceptions about teachers that you would like to dispel?
Um, that one is a hard one. I really don't know. I really don't know because I guess I'm not too familiar with
With
a lot
misconceptions,
of, yeah, I'm not too familiar with what people think about teachers.
you don't care.
Say that again.
I said you don't care. You just teach.
No, it's not that I don't care. I just don't know too many misconceptions that people have about teachers. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Unless you know something and you want to tell me, but you might have heard about teachers. I don't know.
Um, well, teachers do have a lot of backlash sometimes, especially when you're seeing these videos, these viral videos that are occurring where teachers are getting physical with students, and people are blaming the teachers for the situations that are occurring versus the student. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Um, I just think as a professional, you got to handle things in a professional manner at all times. In the classroom, I mean, kids are going to get out of hand. I think that comes with the job and the territory.
Yeah.
And when you enter the classroom and you know that, then I don't think it's really a hard thing to deal with.
Mhm.
Now, I think the issue with things like that is when, okay, when things happen with the child and conversations are had with the administration and then nothing changes, I think
Mhm.
that ultimately becomes problematic. But I think as a professional still, if a student continues to do things that are ill mannered,
Right.
I mean, I don't think you should ever put your hands on a child.
Right.
And I'll just say, unless it really comes down to a point of life threatening
Right.
situations, I feel like if a child has a gun or something like that, absolutely, you got to do what you got to do to survive in that
Right.
case. But
Right.
like that is absolute last resort. Um, but outside of that, yeah, always remain professional.
Yes, I agree. And so, how has the quarantine affected you as a music teacher, and how have you had to adjust?
As a music teacher, it's affected me very drastically, actually, because my students, although we still do online classes and
Right.
everything, they don't. I mean, we can't play. They don't have the instruments.
Mm,
So I can't say, hey, let's work on this. I mean,
mm,
we can do certain things musically, but I definitely want the kids to be able to get on these instruments and get
right,
better at playing, along with getting better at reading or notation or, things of that nature. So, I mean, we're still doing things, but
mm,
just the playing factor for the kids, which is probably the most fun part.
right,
I mean, they can't do it.
mm,
They hate doing research on
mm,
different time periods and different composers and stuff like that. And I know they hate it, and I don't think that's too much fun either. So I
right,
would much rather them have an instrument in front of them. But as time goes on, we find ways to solve these issues and come up with better solutions. So let's say we end up in another pandemic, then hopefully all the students can have instruments with them, and we'll figure it out.
right. Yeah, solutions will be reached. And so, how has the quarantine affected you personally, and how are you staying encouraged?
I think it's affected me personally, actually in a good way. And I
Okay.
say that because I think I was so tied up with work that I
Mm,
often didn't get to work on my craft as much as I would have liked.
mm,
And
right,
so being in the house and just being around my instruments is just like all I could do is practice and play all
right,
day. So it kind of just gave me the opportunity just to create more,
yeah,
uh, to work more, to hone my skill. ever since the quarantine, I started posting more videos onto my social medias.
Yeah,
That was something I always wanted to do, but like I said, I just felt like I was always tied down with work. But it's allowed me to look at it from another lens,
right.
and so it definitely helped me out um, in a positive sense.
Awesome. And so tell us a little bit more about you musically, the instruments that you play. Tell us about Hey Ty Percussion Studio. Tell us a little bit more about you musically.
Musically, so let's see. Uh, I'm a percussionist, so a lot of people don't understand what that really means. I think there's a very fine line between percussionist and drummer.
Hmm.
Yes, I play drums, but for most people who say they're a drummer, they literally just stick to drums, just
Okay.
different types of drums. I say percussionist because in the percussion world, like you see, I play marimba,
Yeah.
that's considered a percussion instrument, which is not necessarily a drum. However, I have the ability to play all drums and all percussion instruments, whether it
Hmm.
be keyboard percussion, shakers,
Yeah.
tambourines, crash cymbals, like anything that you can hit, shake, strike, rub that makes it a pitch or a sound. That's what I play.
Hmm.
And everybody doesn't have the ability to do that.
Right.
So, marimba is definitely my favorite instrument. It was probably the scariest instrument.
Oh, we lost him. So we're gonna try and get him back. Might have had a technical difficulty on his end. Let's see if he pops back in. But in the meantime, you can follow us at Invest Olive LLC on Facebook and on Instagram. We do weekly interviews on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. So here he's back. Let's get back into this interview. Yes, Tyrone is back.
I don't know what happened,
Not sure.
but I forgot what was I saying.
You were talking about the marimba.
Um,
How was a scary instrument?
oh so it was probably the scariest as far as the approach. Once I got to college, they told me, oh, you got to do solo recitals, and you got to play that, and I was like, I've never played that before,
Right.
and it's just like, well, if you want to graduate, you will. And no, and honestly, that's when I fell in love with it.
Wow.
Um, I didn't take it too serious in the beginning, but then over time, I definitely was like, oh, this is not really that bad,
Hmm.
and so, but what I do want to talk about as far as me musically,
Yes.
just like people that have inspired me and how
Sure.
what really made me start.
Sure.
I was 8 years old, and
Hmm.
it was I went to the bus stop, and there was a kid in the neighborhood who was actually one of my friends at the time. He was, I think, a year or two older than me. His name was
Yeah.
Donnell Phillips, and he had drumsticks, and I was seeing with the drumsticks. I'm just like, man, like he played drums, and I was like, I kind of want to play, but it's like I never thought of it as an option. I'm 8 years old. I'm just
Right.
like, man, it's so cool. He would be in the on the bus just beating on the chairs. I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, that's dope. And then so, never really got into it. And then I got into high school, and it was somebody by the name of Benny Williams. He actually plays for CCB Go-Go Band
Oh,
right now. And he was actually a really big influence that made me really step up and say, hey, this is something I could do.
yeah.
And that was like my 10th grade year. And then I
Hmm.
tried to take it a little bit more serious my 11th grade year in high school.
Awesome.
And then what happened? Get to college and I declare a major, and I'm like, okay, music is definitely what I want to do.
Mhm.
Let's do it. Um, and so that's when marimba came into play. But it was a friend of mine who actually passed away 2 years ago, Shaheen
Mhm.
Body, who was also a percussionist, and he had played the marimba already. He played it throughout high school, and I
Oh,
just I just thought he was the most amazing dude I ever seen on that instrument.
yeah.
And we were both freshmen at the time.
Okay.
And he was just talking about it, like showing me stuff, and I'm just like, man, this is crazy. I was like, man, one day I got to get better than this dude. And so in college, he was like, we were friends, and he was also my frat brother. And
Okay.
so he was like my rival to be better and get better,
Yeah.
and then it's just other people now at this point that I see like Ralph Nader, aka
Mhm.
Booney, Malik Dope drummer,
Yeah.
Adam Tan, who's a very well known percussionist and marimbist. But like those are people that I've watched and
Mhm.
studied and like kind of looked up to and asked questions just to get an
Mhm.
idea of how to be a better percussionist at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Awesome.
So that's my world, and that's how I kind of got here, and people that influenced me along the way up until 8 to now. I'm not even gonna say my age. I don't want people to know how old I am, but I'm old enough. I'm old enough.
Awesome. And so, who are some of your personal heroes and heroes?
Personal. I mean, you gotta thank my entire family. You know,
Mhm.
um, I actually no, I actually didn't even mention my uncle Tony, who actually bought me my first drum pad at 16,
Oh, awesome.
and that actually made me feel like, all right, I got a practice pad, so now I can do this.
Yeah.
Um, and then my uncle Tim, who actually bought me my first snare drum at 20.
Mm.
So that was great. But so I mean, definitely my entire family, my mom, sisters,
Mm.
friends. I mean, everybody's kind of seen me through this journey. I
Yeah.
mean, they haven't always been able to see me directly while I perform or anything like that, but they know what it is that I do and they've seen videos and so I mean, it's so many people that have actually like accompanied me along
Yeah.
this journey.
Mhm.
So I mean, I can't name everybody, but
Right.
I
Right.
mean everybody knows who they are. So it's
There
like,
you go.
everybody who supported me through this, even the
Yeah.
people who may not even be here still physically.
Right. Yeah. So we're coming to the last couple of questions in our interview. So, what have you done prior to the quarantine via COVID-19 to be involved in the community, and in what ways would you like to be involved now or in the future?
Something I actually used to do often is kind of been a little bit harder since I've become a teacher,
Okay.
because now I'm having my own programs and stuff
Right.
to do after school and on the weekends.
Yeah.
But I used to really go out to different high schools and
Mm.
just help out, check out drum lines, help with technique, things
Mhm.
like that. Just give my time.
Right.
I think that's one of the biggest things that I've been able to do. I've done other things I mean, that aren't even musical
Mhm.
with several of my fraternities.
Okay.
Um, so I've been in the community, but what would I like to do forward? Moving forward, I would definitely want to continue at the school that I'm currently at and building the program there. At some point outside of the school, I would love to start like a community band,
Okay.
whether it be marching band, a jazz band, symphonic winds
Mm.
band, just something for the youth to be able to come to and have an extracurricular if, let's say, their school doesn't have it.
Right.
And ultimately, I feel like that'd be bring more community amongst the community.
Yeah.
Just having that thing to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it's still in the beginning stages,
Right.
but that's definitely something that I want to have happen moving forward years down the line.
Awesome. Awesome. And so, we come to the end. So, what words would you like to leave our audience with to end this episode of the Black Motivation Broadcast Midweek Motivation?
Definitely continue to make yourself uncomfortable.
Hmm.
I've learned that in some of my most uncomfortable positions, I've gotten the best results.
Yes. All right. Simple enough. So, how can we support you and follow you on social media?
Let's see. Pretty much all of my social media are the same. I have Instagram. You can follow me on that. Hey at HeyTy07, HEYTY07. I just started a TikTok a couple weeks ago. Check me out on there. Same thing at HeyTy07. Facebook, Tyrone, Pearsall. Um, I feel like Snapchat, same thing. HeyTy07.
Mm.
Uh, I post there sometimes, but my main posting pages are Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, check me out, support, feel free, please like, comment, share videos, follow, I'll follow back. At this point, I'm just trying to get my name out there, my abilities. The studio is definitely, once quarantine is over, the studio will be opening back up. Uh, if you got kids that you want to learn how to play an instrument, please feel free to hit me up. And no, they're not only subjected to percussion instruments. That just happens to be my mastery. However, I'm a music teacher, so I can teach kids how to play the basics on any instrument. So whatever it is you want, let me know and we'll work it out.
Well, you have heard it here first. Come support this brother and get involved in the life of a child learning music. So this has been an episode of the Black Motivation Broadcast, Midweek Motivation. You can find us on Instagram at Invest Olive LLC, Facebook at www.facebook.com/Invest Olive LLC. And you can email us if you would like to nominate someone to be a guest on the Black Motivation Broadcast at investollivellc@gmail.com. This has been an amazing episode. Thank you so much, Tyrone, for joining us.
Thank you.
We are out. Thank
All right.
you. Yes.